Let's draw an arbitrary line in Chart.js with React chart. So what we want to do here is create this line here, this arbitrary line, which just basically highlights this specific point and make this line here, which is independent from our line, as you can see here. So let's start to look how to do this. So let's start to draw the arbitrary line in Chart.js with React Chartjs. So the first thing what I want to do here, because this is our template here, we're going to start working on this, and what we need to do is to import. By the way, I already installed React.js and I also installed React Chartjs component. So they're all installed already. I will make a separate video for that so you know how to do that, but here I assume you have everything up and running. Alright, here, first thing what I want to do here, import, and then we're going to say here the line, and this could be anything you want, but I'll just use here the line, and then this is from the string react-chartjs #2 component. Alright, so now we have this. The next thing what I want to do is I want to import the Chartjs library elements or components. So I'm going to say here import, and then what I want to do here is I say chartjs, comma, and then we're going to put in every element we need, or 3 shakeable components. First of all, because it's a line chart, we're going to have the line element because I want to draw a line, which makes sense. Next, category axis here, category scale, that's for the y-axis, or sorry, no, x-axis. Comma, next what I want to do here is a linear scale, and that is for the y-axis. I will not put that down there, there's no need to do that anymore. Point element, because we're going to draw a line or the dots on the line, and then we have the tooltip that we want to add, and we're going to have the legend as well. So once we did those, we're going to say here from what exactly? Chartjs library, of course. So now we have this here. So the next thing what I want to do, I want to register them so that they are active and can be used in our chart. So what I'm going to say here, Chartjs, and I'm using this here. This is a reference to this or that because it's related to chart, which is Chartjs. So then I'm going to say here .register, and then what I want to do is I want to register all the items in here that we have set here above, everything except the Chartjs, because that's this reference here, of course. So now we have this, and I can just delete this here. Alright, so you should know this now. So if I save this, of course nothing happens yet. It does work, but of course we need to draw and start to put things all together. So let's start to work on the next item here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put a div. And here in this div we could basically control the positioning and the width, the padding, all the pixel items or CSS related items. I will make other videos for that. For now, I want to focus on the chart. So what I want to do here now is I'm going to say here the line is capital L and close line. Alright, so now we have this, which is the line. If you're wondering why line, because I have here line. I could give this bar or give this ABC, then everything else here should be ABC. So it should be consistent to whatever you name it above. However, in this line element, what I want to do is, because this is our canvas eventually, I want to make sure we have the object that we need, which is one is the data object. I'm going to say data. Then another one would be the, well, let's see here. We have here the options itself. And then we have another one as well, which will be eventually the plugin, because we need to create a custom plugin as well. So we're going to say plugins, and then this one will be curly braces, bracket, because it's an array, and let's call this our arbitrary line. Alright, so now we have these. So then, of course, what I need to do is, before the return, because the return will give us this, all these code here. Before the return, we make sure that all of these objects are fully loaded, because if I save this right now, you can see we get an error because all of these items are not defined yet. Makes sense. We have a constant of data, but there is no constant reference to that. So we're going to say data equals, and this is just an object on its own. If you've seen my other videos, you understand these are blocks, data blocks or blocks that I use as well. So what I want to do here is, what I need is the data. Let's do the labels. And the labels will be a bracket, and this will be Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday. I think that should be more than enough, comma. The next thing what I want to do is the data sets. And the data sets here bracket this. And I'm going to say here, the data set will have the data basically, which will be, let's put in 3, 6, 9, and anything else, if ever 12 or something like that. But of course, I realize what we need as well is the label name. So we're going to say here label, and the label is a string value. We can say here, let's do here 369. That would be beautiful. So we have these numbers in here. All right. So now we have that. I want here a background color for the legend, so background color, and this could be aqua. That should be fine, comma, and then we have here the border color, and the border color I'll make it black, so that's just simple. And I use here aqua with a caps lock, or just make the small letters because that's the HTML color code, so we keep that small colors. So next what we have here is what we can do here. I guess this should be more than enough for now. Maybe we want to have retention 0.4, so we have a more elastic chart. All right, so now we have this. The next thing what I want to do, because if I save this right now, we solve one issue, but of course options and arbitrary line plugin are not yet active. So we're going to do here another constant. We're going to say here options, and for the options here are going to be very straightforward, and of course not like this. It should be an equal sign. For the options, we don't disable any tooltip, we don't disable any legend, we do nothing here. Everything is just basic. So again, just keep it blank. What will happen, Chartjs will get the default values, and I accept those default values. They are perfect. All right, so we have them here. Then you can see the final one is the arbitrary line, which is our plugin. All right, so this is the plugin here, and it's an array. So I'm going to copy this, and we're going to say here constant arbitrary line equals this, and then we're going to do all the plugin commands. So what I want to do here for the plugin commands, well, let's look. What do we need here exactly? The arbitrary line, first of all, ID. For the arbitrary line, that's the plugin ID name. Next, what I want to do here is, what we can do here is when would we like to draw the arbitrary line. So I want to draw this line on the chart here, and I realize we don't have a chart yet. Well, what I want to do is just hide this for now. If I save this, do we get a chart? Apparently we don't get a chart yet. So let's save that and do this and see. We should have a chart, I realized, because if we don't have a chart yet, it would be just a bit more confusing. Maybe this is not allowed. Let me just double check. Save. All right, interesting. We have here a data set. It's not a function. So we have somewhere an error, and I think I have the error somewhere else here. This chart. No, this is all fine. All right, so hold on. Let me double check here. We have the data. We have the options. That's the line object. Let me check. All right, so after looking, I discover I made a tiny mistake. Very bad from my end. All right, that's very important here because we have this error here. It was not working. I was looking what's going on here because we remember the data set is an array, and I forgot to put in here the brackets, and because of that, I'm being punished heavily because of that. Well, basically, I'm just being punished for not doing the work I'm supposed to do. So if I save this, then I refresh, you can see here now we get here this. So you will be penalized intensely for this. So make sure you have the bracket because every data set is one. All right, so now we have this, so we can confirm it is working. So what I want to do next is to start putting in the other item. We use the plugins equals, and then here this and a bracket. Remember, this is an array as well. So this one here will be the arbitrary line. So let's grab that constant. This equals that. And then in here, we're going to say here ID will be arbitrary line. And then because we want that line, and we want that line, let's say from here to there, but we want to make sure that that line will be at the back of this line here and this point. So in that case, we're going to say here before data sets draw. And then we're going to say here chart, args, and plugin options. And then we can grab this one here, and then we're going to say here constant, and I'm going to say here this equals chart. What I'm doing here right now is chart object destructure. It's basically object destructure in Chartjs. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, I have a video that explains it all. Just search for it in the description box. In the it has a link there with the name Understanding Chartjs, and object destructure. Very important to know. So what I'm going to do here is CTX, because I want to draw on the canvas. Secondly, I want to have, let's say, the chart area. And if you don't understand what chart area is, same again, video in the description box. Understanding Chartjs chart area. Very important to know as well. Say here top, bottom, left, right, width and height. I think that will be sufficient. Then we say a comma, scales here, X and Y would be sufficient, and there we are. I think that is more than enough. Alright, so now I have this here. What I need next is, and by the way, if you can see it, this is the code. I need to wrap the text later on. But anyway. So what I want to do next is I want to start drawing here. I'm going to draw that within this functionality here. So I'm going to say here, first of all, ctx.save to save all variables and have a default positioning over default structuring. That's number one. That's what we need if you want to reset it. Next, what I want to do is I want to draw a line. So I'm going to say here, ctx dot, and then we can say here, because the line will be starting from here all the way down here. So our positioning should be here. So what I'm going to say here is the following ctx, and then I'm going to say here line width. So let's control the line first and just say this will be 3 pixels. Next, ctx dot stroke style for the color, and let's make this one, we have this here aqua, and then maybe we can do this one gray, British gray. So next, what I want to do here is say here ctx dot move to, and this is basically the x and y coordinate that we need as a starting point. So you can imagine it like a dot. Where do we going to paste, or where do we place that specific dot? In this case, I want to place it here. And then we'll make a line going down there. So I'm going to say here, how do we get this? Remember this here, the chart area, very useful. The x and y coordinates, we can basically, first of all, the top is this one here. That's basically this very top item. So I'm going to say your top, semicolon. For the x here, all we need to do is need to figure out the scale, whatever the scale value is on x, that's this one here, plus the following, the position of the index number of this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say x dot get pixel for value, and this is a built-in Chartjs functionality or function. So we get the pixel of the value, and the value in this case, I'll just hard code it, will be index number 1. This is index 0. Remember, in JavaScript, arrays are 0-based calculation, so number 1. So then I did this. That's the move to, that's the starting point. Then what I want to do is I make a line, draw the line, and this is an intention to draw. So it doesn't draw yet, it's an intention. Later on I will give the command how to draw it. So we want to have this line and then prepare the line, or in the intention to draw it to here. So how to do that? Well, basically almost similar. I'm just going to grab all of this, put that in there. Then we say here, and oh, my bad, was move, should be move to. This one here will be line to, which is a connecting line from this here, from this dot to that position here, which will be still same on the x. Basically the x is how many pixels to the left, or to the right in this case, and then here going down. And all we want to do down here is just get the bottom pixel. Once we did that, I'm going to say a ctx dot stroke to draw the line, and if we save this, refresh, alright, interesting. Then we get here a problem. Let's see here, ctx dot stroke is apparently not drawing yet. Let's see what's going on here. Filled unexpected comma. Where exactly unexpected comma? Number 51. Alright, or maybe it's this one. Save. Alright, there we are. Apparently that's the one, sorry. So don't do that. But you can see here now we get this line here, and it is hiding at the very back. But you might say, well, hold on, what about this here? Why is this drawing? Well, we have created this item here, but what we want to do now is to indicate that this line that we draw is unique and is independent of any other shapes here, because this is what we call a bleeding over from one point to another. It somehow gets these designs here as well. So what I'm going to do here, ctx.begin path, to say we're going to create a shape, and this shape is unique and new and independent of any other shape, so avoiding the bleed over effect. So if I refresh here now, There you are, no more bleed over. It doesn't bleed to any other elements, and there we are. So that looks absolutely phenomenal here, and that is basically what we can do. The only thing what I would say here, ctx.restore to undo all the color settings and anything else that we have here to avoid that anything else will not be impacted more. Alright, so that's basically it. Here we could move this to number 0 and save this, refresh. There you are, and then it goes to index number 0 here. And let's put that back here. And of course, if you look at this very carefully, you can see the line is behind the dot here. What if you want to do it on top of it? In that case, you're going to say after. So I'm going to save that. But what this truly means is we're going to draw the data set, and after the data set has been drawn, we're going to draw whatever we have created. And now if you can see here, the dot is overlapped by the gray line. And that's basically it. Very straightforward here. Save that, refresh, there you are. So if you enjoyed this video, I have another video as well, which is also quite interesting, is where we can create the data, and or at least when we click on one of these data points, we will be able to extract that data point and show that in the console log, which create the action. And those kind of things can be very advanced, and we can go very deep on those, and that will be really fun as well. I highly recommend you to watch that video if you want to be more advanced and learning those kind of advanced interactions on Chart.js.